So in this video, I want to make it very, very clear what vetting suppliers actually means. Okay, well, what it should mean, okay? Because when people say vetting suppliers, they commonly just literally mean checking legitimacy for suppliers. However, when you are doing wholesale to a high level, we've got to do more than that because I do not care if a supplier is legitimate, right? Or we don't want to dig deeper with a supplier that's legitimate when there's no data to suggest that these suppliers can actually offer us profitable pricing, that these suppliers we can actually go in and negotiate with, these suppliers we can actually achieve price points that will actually be able, or well, essentially that will actually be profitable for us to sell on Amazon. What I mean by that is, well, first of all, we never do this in type and Colgate Wholesale UK, but we know all these suppliers here are legit, MX Wholesale, Pound Wholesale. We know they're operating from EFG. We know that they operate from warehouses and whatnot, right? And if you don't, you can literally just Google their addresses, right? And you'll see they're all operating from warehouses. And these are legit companies, right? That have been in the game, or that have been on Google, right? That are easily accessible. You can see their warehouses. You can probably visit their warehouses. However, yes, they're legitimate. Okay. So yes, they are vetted for legitimacy. However, you need to also vet them for quality. Now, what I mean by that is even if we get these accounts open, is there data to suggest that these suppliers we can develop relationships with, we can negotiate with, and get products and prices that will give us longevity on Amazon? What do I mean by that? Can we go into MX Wholesale and deploy certain strategies, deploy certain value propositions, some negotiation techniques to get these products at cheaper price points over the long term, whereby we can replenish them every single month and sell them on Amazon, right? Can we do that with these suppliers? Because yes, we know they're legitimate. However, do they have the quality? So we need to make sure we vet our suppliers for quality as well. Now, what are these data points? There's many. Okay. Now, all these data points I do cover in my program, whereby I will literally tell you to look out for these certain data points, and then you'll be able to go like, okay, that supply is legitimate. However, there's no quality there. We're not going to be able to negotiate with these guys. Let's take them off our reach tracker. Let's not even contact them because essentially wholesale, Amazon FBA wholesale is a numbers game. But what is vital is outreach with precision. There's no point reaching out to 100 legitimate suppliers. However, data suggests that these guys can't move on pricing because you don't want to be on the phone trying to offer these guys value, trying to negotiate with them, wasting time on the phone when there's no profitability there, going through a price list of 5,000 products when there's no data to suggest that these guys will ever be able to offer you profitable pricing. What you want to do instead is come across suppliers no one else will be able to find in the first place, which aren't showing it, well, which aren't even available on Google, right? Or aren't appearing on these first, whatever, however many pages on Google. And then you're like, okay, this is an unsaturated wholesaler. This is an unsaturated supplier. I've never heard of this company before, right? And then from there, you're like, okay, let's first vet them for legitimacy. Yes, they're legitimate. They've got a warehouse. Their company's registered here. They've been in the game for 30 years. I've spoken to them. Okay, I've had a Zoom call with them, right? Yes, they're a legitimate company. Now, okay, now let's vet them for quality. Is there data to suggest that we can negotiate with these guys, that these guys are able to offer us discounted pricing if we go in and offer them value, right? According to many things, according to their position within the supply chain, who they buy from, who they supply, right? How long have they been in business with their suppliers? What sorts of relationships do they have with their suppliers, right? Can they get in products for us? Can they give us exclusive pricing? Can they do these things that will essentially give us longevity within our business, whereby we're getting prices no one else is getting, and we're getting products that no one else is getting? Now, it's these things which will determine the quality of a supply. Can we actually develop a relationship with these guys? Okay, do we have an account rep which we can work with, whose goal is literally to offer your business value, to essentially work with you over the long term, right? To essentially give you products and prices that suit both of you, whereby you're taking stock of theirs at prices that works for them, and also prices and products that work for you in a well, to essentially churn that stock month on month and replenish that stock every single month for your Amazon FBA wholesale business. Now that's what's vital, okay? That we don't only vet suppliers for legitimacy, but also quality. So we are not wasting time and money trying to negotiate with suppliers or place orders with suppliers, hoping that we're going to get products and prices cheaper, right? After a bit, when we can literally fast track that process and literally only contact suppliers that are legitimate and only contact suppliers whereby we know, okay, these guys will be able to move on pricing based on data points X, Y, and Z. Okay, once we've developed a relationship with these guys, got a foot in the door with these guys, we know these prices will move and we know we'll get products and prices no other Amazon seller will be able to get. And then once you've got a list of literally these companies, you know you can attack, and negotiate, offer value, offer value, offer value, then you're going to see the floodgates start to open. Whereas most sellers out there are approaching it to such a high level and they're contacting 500 companies, which are A, easily accessible, and B, will never be able to move on pricing just because of the type of company that they are, right? Whereas the people I work with and me and my business, we are literally bang outreaching to companies which are legitimate and we know can move on pricing, right? We know can source in products for us. We know can do these things that will give our business longevity over the long term because we'll have prices of products other people can't get. Okay, so that's something I wanted to touch on in this video, which is absolutely vital if you want a long-term profitable wholesale business which will churn you profits every single month, essentially, whereby you will have replenishable lines. Okay. If you want any help with wholesale, there'll be a link down below in the description to see if you'd be a good fit for my program. We cover all this in the program in depth. I'll show you what data points to look at. I'll literally show you how you can tell whether a supplier will be able to move on pricing for you, right? How you can tell whether a supplier will be able to source in stock for you, how you can essentially determine what sorts of suppliers that you need to contact. Yes, they'll be legitimate, but what sort of suppliers you actually want to contact, whereby you know they are quality suppliers, right? Whereby you know these suppliers can give you long-term sustainable profits, whereby you can get replenishable ACEs, right? Which are churning profits again every single month. Like I said, if you want to apply for my program, link in the description below. We don't take everyone on. So yeah, link below to apply for my program. But yeah, I hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you are new here, comments on any video suggestions if you want to see me make a video on a specific topic, sorry. But yeah, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you all in the next video.